Hello, good evening, SM viewers. This is Satellite Media. The Prime Minister of Biafra and Ezra Samanekpa have said that Biafrans are lion in the jungle. But let me allow you to listen to him before I come back to analyze what he's saying.
Today, I am telling you, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu will be free. He will be released in a very historic way. And when this thing I am cooking is not done, he will not come out. Or you see this food that I'm cooking, when the food is ready, they will be forced to release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. As I'm talking to you, there is meeting ongoing, and they are scared that this Simon Ekpa will bring war. And I wonder what kind of war. I watched them in the mirror and they were discussing. I told them we are already at war. What type of war do you think Simon Ekpa is bringing that you have not brought to us? The only thing Simon Ekpa is doing now is to make sure that our women and children are well defended. I want you to understand that the defense of Biafra we are going to do to the last drop of our blood. We must not allow terrorists to run over our land like they have done part of Nigeria. We will continue to defend and neutralize those who have come to terrorize us, continue to neutralize them in order to stay alive, in order to make sure that our communities are not being burnt down, in order to make sure that our women can go out without being harassed. We read in the newspaper how Biafran women are complaining and crying on the pages of newspaper that the terrorists are harassing them. They will continue to harass them and will continue to neutralize them. It is step. We are not in a hurry.
So, you are welcome back. Haven't listened to the Prime Minister of Biafra in Ezra and Holland and talking about Simon Ekpa himself, giving an analysis of what Nigeria may be expecting in the days ahead, and promising that he's going to be the last that will fight the struggle and hand over freedom to Biafrans. I think what we should be looking at this point is how do we come to this point, and what does the government need to do to survey the situation? Because for me, I think if I may air my view, I think for now at this point, I think the government should allow referendum. Since referendum is not criminal, it's not an offense, allow the people to determine whether actually they want to be part of Nigeria or not. Because if you look at Nigeria, not just Nigeria, if you look at mankind generally, you understand that providence is, every mankind is created by providence. When I mean providence, I'm talking about the power of God. And if you look at the creation of man and what makes people unique, I'm talking about unifying factors, you can understand that the major unifying factors in life has to do with perhaps language. And if you look at language, you look at culture of the people, you look at, of course, if you go to the area of boundary, you look at sea and all that. But looking at Nigeria as an entity, I think Nigeria, ab initio, by providence, is not created to be one entity. That is not to say that the people cannot come together through a unanimous agreement and be together in one entity called Nigeria. But if people are saying we are not interested in that entity called Nigeria and we are demanding for a referendum, I think the right thing to do is for the government to come together, have dialogue. If dialogue is not working and the people insist they want to be on their own, I think the right thing to do is to invite the world bodies like UN and organize a referendum. And at the end of the day, if the majority say they want sovereign state of Biafra, I think that is their self-determination. And if at the end of the day, the people who say they want to remain in Nigeria as one entity overwhelm the number of people who are saying they want to go, I think that settles the case. But because for me, I think this issue of unnecessary waste of life, because whether we like it or not, peace have virtually eluded the eastern part of the country. Since this renewed agitation for the sovereign state of Biafra resurfaced, there is hardly anybody who will want to travel to the eastern part of the country because of insecurity. And somehow the insecurity is tied to the agitation. So for me, I think it is a good initiative if the government will allow referendum and allow the people to determine whether actually they want to be in Nigeria or they want a separate state called Biafra Republic. Because if you allow that to happen, I don't think we'll continue seeing this unwanted or rather wanton destruction of lives and property. Life is sacrosanct for me, and life should not be wasted when it can be avoidable. From what I'm seeing, the manner and the nature of wastage of life is at a very alarming stage, particularly in the eastern part of the country. And the only way I'm seeing, if you provide a table for conversation, I think if that table for conversation is not able to address the people coming together and remaining in one entity called Nigeria, I think the best thing to do at this point is to allow referendum and allow the people determine whether actually they want to continue existing in Nigeria or they want a separate state of sovereign state of Biafra. And once that is done, I don't think anybody will have cause to start vilifying anyone, or rather start killing anyone. And that is not to say that if you have three separate states in Nigeria, when I mean state, I'm talking about three countries, that is not to say that the Hausas, the Igbos, and the Yorubas will be quarreling or having a diplomatic row. Of course, there will be trade and investment. Join the same vein, you see Nigeria having trade and investment um, treaties and all that with other foreign nations. So for me, I think to end all these unwarranted and incessant waste of life, whether on the part of security agencies, whether on the part of civilians, I think we should, as a people, allow the people to determine whether actually they want a sovereign state. And if they want a sovereign state by way of referendum, so be it. But if at the end of the day, I think at this point, if there will be actually referendum, the government have a mandate to convert their own position, because we saw the issue of Brexit. At the end of the day, the people who wanted Brexit uh, convert their opposition. The people who wanted Britain to remain in the European Union convert their position. But at the end of the day, I think the majority carried the vote, and that's end the issue of whether United Kingdom should exit European Union or not. So in the same vein, if the Nigerian government will go and convert their position and make people in the eastern part of the country, or rather Biafrans, see the reason why they should remain in this entity called Nigeria, and the people who are drumming support for Biafra Republic will do their own campaign. At the end of the day, you allow the voting to take place, and you cannot determine by the outcome of the voting where the pendulum will swing. I think that's a good place. I think that is the way to go, if you ask me. And I think this is a good place to let it go. Thank you very much. I'm Mr. Matthew, and this is Satellite Media.